Hey guys, it's Paul. So today I wanted to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh products and some of the criticisms and critiques that I have of them. Don't worry, I'm going to try to keep it, like just constructive. I'm not just here to like rant or bash Konami or anything like that. But I was trying to think of how to frame this video and I decided I'm just going to kind of take the different product categories that we get in a typical year and just take them one by one and sort of give small adjustments that I sort of would like to see and maybe some propositions for a couple of different product types or changes that I'd like as well at the end. So let's start with the main series sets. That's stuff like, as of late, Blazing Vortex, Phantom Rage, Rise of the Duelist, those types of things. These normally come out every 3 months. They have 100 new cards for us in the TCG. Although in the OCG there are only 80 cards in these sets, but in the TCG there are 100 because we get imports and we get TCG exclusives and those sorts of things. So how would I change these? I don't actually have much of a problem with main series sets. I think they're mostly fine, especially in recent in the last like year or so now that the Reigns era has ended. Main series sets have done a really good job of supporting so many different archetypes. Like Phantom Raids just randomly supported UA monsters. They supported Infernities. They you got support for all these different things. Plus you got new archetypes like Dual Avatar and Virtual World, and even Blazing Vortex, right? We got like Armed Dragon support. We also got Wind Witches and Fabled, and so there's lots of cool new archetypes, and lots of old archetypes are getting more support because there's just more slots to allocate for that. I think my main problem with these sets right now is just that I don't like the new rarity distribution that Konami's done. So when they got rid of rares back last year, starting with Eternity Code, they compensated for those lost rare slots by making more secret rares, more ultra rares, and more super rares. On paper, this might not sound like a really big deal, because like, okay, whatever, it's just more foils. It actually is because it makes it harder to pull any given card. An example is, sets used to have 8 secrets, now they have 10 secrets. They used to have 10 ultras, now they have 14 ultras, and they used to have, I want to say it's 18 supers, and now that went to 26 supers. So let's say I'm buying Blazing Vortex and I want to pull Pot of Prosperity. It's new, it's fun, good card. And I buy like a single box. In a box, the ratios of like what you'll typically pull in a box have not changed. That is to say, you'll get 2 secrets and 4 ultras, and the rest of your packs will be supers on average. So, it used to be I got 2 secrets and there's 8 total secrets in a set. So I guess you could say I have like a roughly 25% chance of like you get what I mean, right? You'll get 2 out of the 8 secrets as long as they're not duplicates. But now I'm getting 2 out of the 10 secrets. So what this means is that it's tougher to pull any given secret rare card. The same goes for ultras and even super rares. So certain cards are just a little bit tougher to find, and I think that over time that actually makes the prices of individual cards slightly higher, but we won't get into that too much. Mainly what I'm saying here is that I kind of like the old way that it was done. I don't have a problem with them taking away rares. I mean, they were neat, but I'm over that. It's just that small but subtle change makes it ever so slightly tougher to pull cards, and I'm not a big fan of that. I think that it might be nice if they could kind of cut down on like the clear pack filler type of cards. Like I remember I was reading some card in a recent set, or maybe it's in like Lightning Overdrive or something. Like there's some trap, and it's not 1-for-1, but it's like in a similar vein to 1-for-1. It's like this trap called 1x1 or something like that. You can look it up, you'll know what it is. And like you discard a monster from your hand, and like you can get a level 1 monster from your graveyard and add it to your hand, or something like that. It's like it's really awkward because it doesn't like like there are other cards that do that better and with fewer restrictions. So it's just like, why does this card exist? And sometimes I'm sitting here opening a lot of these packs, and it's just like, man, like, why is this card in here? And I think, well, maybe if they could like trim those down, people might be a little bit happier because it's easier to pull good cards. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that's like a super pertinent thing. It just sometimes gets annoying. And then my last thing with main series sets is it would be nice if staples could be lower rarity and then have like the high rarity stuff be something different. Either make the high rarity stuff be like the cool anime boss monster cards, like the new 50th Stardust form can be like a secret rare, but Forbidden Droplets could be, a super rare or something like that. I would like that because it would just make stuff easier to get. I know they're not going to do it. That's kind of more of a pipe dream, but it would be cool. Okay, moving on from main series sets. The next thing is deck builder sets. So this is one that I've got a fair amount of thoughts on. I think deck builder sets are cool because I think that the archetypes in them are usually really unique, but also really like balanced and at a good power level. Generally, I know that there's exceptions. Some people would say like Eldritch pushes it a bit far, but like normally they're fine. I actually think that these are great sets for like building with your friends. If you have two other friends, you can like each get a box and then like trade to get like the stuff that you need. So like for instance, right now, like I'm trying to build the Ogdoadic deck, Alec wants to build the Exarctic deck, and Larry's building the Sulfur Core deck, and we each got like a box, I think, or Larry got like two, and we each got like one, and so we can sort of trade our cards, and it's great because you can usually build the deck right out of the box. You'll be missing some staples, but I mean they do at least make it a point to include reprints of staples that are directly tied to the theme. So that'd be like offerings to the Snake Deity for Ogdoadics, right? Pretty helpful. These are good, and I think that their design is good. However, as sets, I feel like they don't sell very well because if a player isn't interested in these, then they just simply would not buy this set. Plain and simple. I think it would be really cool. This is a kind of one of my more alternative ideas I hinted at before. Is it'd be really neat to see these just kind of be made into like structure decks of some kind, some sort of sealed product of some kind. Because let's face it, the values on these sets always plummet. The cards don't become like really worth much of anything. But these would be great for maybe not teaching new players, but on a casual level, I think that these are really great like build and go decks. With other archetypes, you usually have to wait a couple of months between like set releases to get all the support cards, and then you have to like pull them all from like this set that has a bunch of other stuff you don't want. Like, it would be nice to just have like, okay, an Ogdoadic structure deck type of product. I don't know. I think of like when they did like the Legendary Decks series, like Yugi's Legendary Decks and Legendary Hero Decks, Legendary Dragon Decks. You guys might remember those. I think this could be kind of a cool use for these. Like, let's have decks like Rika and Witchcrafters and Infinitrax and Evil Eyes and all that, the Drytrons or whatever. Kind of have them as just like built decks. That way you don't have to pull the cards. You can just straight up like play it in a sealed product. I don't know, that maybe that's not the best situation for Konami, because if people don't like those archetypes, they won't buy it, and the stuff just sits on the shelf anyway, so it might be lose-lose. But that's just an interesting idea that I kind of think could make these products a little bit better. I don't know. Okay, another one that I've got pretty big thoughts on are structure decks. I think that structure decks they've been doing a pretty good job with structure decks outside of the last two. Freezing Chains was very underwhelming, and Spirit Charmers was very underwhelming, and then people wanted certain reprints in these structure decks that they didn't get, that doesn't help their case. But I would like for structure decks to take one of two routes. The first route is they should be cheaper. Recently, Cardfight Vanguard Overdress, that's the reboot of Cardfight Vanguard that just recently released. We actually have some products of it that we're doing a bit of an opening for. It might be up on the channel now or later or whatever. I don't know when you're watching this. Those structure decks are $3.99. $3.99 for a a structure deck or a starter. Well, I don't know what they call them, starter decks, trial decks. $3.99. That's so accessible for a new player. It's insane. And I think that Yu-Gi-Oh decks should be like $4.99 or something like that, Just make it really easy to get stuff. And that would be really fun. It would make the game more accessible. Or, my alternative is make these structure decks $19.99 or something like that, but include more in them that makes them an actual deck that you can pick up and play. So don't be so afraid to give duplicates of cards. Include more staples, and maybe even include a side deck to get people kind of into the whole idea of side decking. You can give them some basic versatile side deck cards like Twin Twisters or Book of Eclipse or maybe some Kaijus, basic side deck stuff. And you could even throw in a playmat. I know that might maybe ramp the cost up to like $30. But again, I think that this could be fine. We've seen stuff like Dual Devastator as a really interesting product because it just includes good cards that people want. And I think that if you do that and maybe give people a pack of sleeves, give them a playmat, give them a side deck and an actual full extra deck. And the full extra deck doesn't have to include all the busted stuff. You don't get a Zeus, sure, but you can get a couple Nightmares. Get a Nightmare Phoenix, get a Nightmare Unicorn. Call it a day. I don't know, I think that you could take structure deck in one of those two directions. I think that would be really fun. They'd both be better value for people, either really cheap or more expensive but includes meaningful stuff. Reprint sets. This is the one that I'm I guess, got the most like negative opinion on. Reprint sets are super deceptive, and here's why. Players always get excited about these reprint sets, like Ghost from the Past, like Maximum Gold, like Megatins, and here's what always happens. These reprint sets are freaking huge, and that's something that I think Konami really. I don't know if they're like doing it on purpose. Of course, they're doing it on purpose. They're the ones who design their products, but I so a reprint set gets announced, and maybe you'll hear that it's got like reprints of the hand traps, back when those were really hard to get, which technically they still are, but you know what I mean? Or reprints of like Infinite Impermanence, or Evenly Matched, or some other staple that you really, really need. Or like this year's Megatins, which are supposedly going to have like Forbidden Droplets, Tactics Talent, cards people want. It seems exciting, doesn't it? But then you look at a set like, let's take Ghost from the Past, easy example, $15. You get 3 packs. 3 packs that have like what 7 cards each in them or something. I don't know. It's not a lot. 5 cards each. I actually want to say, and the sets are huge. These sets are like usually 200 or 250 card sets. Just these huge reprint sets, and the things that they're reprinting are all over the place. Like it's yeah, you might get Infinite Impermanence in your Maximum Gold pack. There's a really good chance you just won't. And it's even more annoying because like they'll do this thing where it's like, oh yeah, all the cards in here are ultras, or all the cards in here are like, the same rarity, so you don't even have to worry about anything like that. But that's not the case really. Because, Evenly Matched and Ghost from the Past is one of those like back cards where like the last card in a pack, those are the ones that are like more elusive, like Dragoonity Ramus and a couple other cards. So even though they like to pretend that they're all ultras, it's harder to pull certain ultras, so they might as well not even bother with that. And like there's so much to sort through, there's so much junk. And so when I open Ghost from the Past, I'm not saying that any individual archetype is junk. And that's not what I mean. Like if you're building Starry Nights, cool. If you're building Sunbind, cool. If you wanted reprints of Dragoonities or something, cool. What I mean is that for the average person who's just looking for a few things, there's just so much disparate stuff in these reprint sets, and I think players would really appreciate it more if reprint sets just reprinted the cards that Konami damn well knows are actually wanted. Like seriously, I am excited about Rise of the Duelist being included in this year's Megatins, but why not just include the like top 10 most valuable cards in that set, and don't bother with the garbage like the random fluffle penguin card or something that was already a common in there, but they're gonna throw it in the tins just to like fill it out. Why not? Like, don't even bother with it. Just honestly, you could take just the secrets and the ultras from these sets and just reprint those. Don't even bother reprinting the comics. Maybe I'm pissing somebody off by saying this. I don't really know. I just think that when you buy a reprint set, you know why you're buying it. Konami knows why you're buying it. There are certain cards that cost $100+, and that's what people want. Make the reprint sets smaller and just have the cards that people want to get, and like, don't bother with anything else. One other thing that I think would be kind of neat, I know a lot of people complain about, us not getting the same treatment as the OCG does with certain like exclusive products and just more exciting things. I want Konami to bring all that over here. I don't know why they don't. Who knows? I don't work there. I don't know anything. But I think it'd be cool if like we got maybe like regular import sets. So instead of like throwing the imports into random main series sets and kind of making it ambiguous as to whether or not we'll get them and which ones we'll get, I would like it if maybe just every spring and fall, because that's kind of how Konami likes to do a lot of these things, every spring and fall we just get like a, 30 card or 40 card set that's just import cards. Like it imports, Pile Armed Dragon, a card that I'm looking forward to, but I have no clue when it will release. Or, certain other cards that get announced as like V-Jump promos or something in Japan, and you're like, oh, when are we going to get it here? Who knows? Because we never know when stuff's going to get imported. I guess, yes, imports can make main series sets more popular and maybe make them sell better, but I think that this will do a better job of catching us up to the OCG and its card pool more quickly, and I want to say players would appreciate that more. But I don't know. Alright, and last thing, really quickly, because this video's gone on long. I like Duel Devastator, and I want to see more stuff like it. I know that it didn't sell well for Konami because it's one of those things where once you buy one, you've kind of gotten everything you need out of it, or maybe you buy 3 to get a playset of everything, but then you have no need to buy more. Whereas with a main series set that's got a bunch of RNG, you can just buy, like, Konami can sell that to you ad nauseum because you always want to pull more stuff. But I still do like what Dual Devastator did. It kind of goes into my idea with like starter decks or structure decks where maybe just including good staples, like a Dual Devastator set every year, maybe that's the better solution than these reprint sets. Maybe just have a Dual Devastator this year that just gives you Forbidden Droplets and gives you Zeus and gives you, you know, like Pot of Prosperity or whatever, all guaranteed for like 20 or 30 bucks or something. I don't know. I haven't thought that idea out that much. I'm just throwing it here at the end because I kind of want to hear what you guys think of it. So, okay, that's my thoughts on Yu-Gi-Oh! Product and how I think that they can maybe be changed or improved. Don't, you know, bite my head off too much over this. I didn't think a lot about it. These are just sort of stray thoughts, and I think that on paper they sound good. Like I said, I'm not the one who's like, I'm not managed a card game for like, you know, years and years and years. I'm not an expert in this, so these could all be horrible things that just run Yu-Gi-Oh! To the ground. So that's why it's only my opinion. You're allowed to disagree. Don't worry, it's not going to happen anyway. They don't ask me for advice. So, okay, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Pass turn.